My ex is mad at me for cutting his daughter off after she helped him cheat on me. I 29 female usually stay with my boyfriend Carl 38 female on weekends. He lives with his daughter 16 female when she's in due to joint custody. He works a job that he hates because he has no opportunities for growing his career, so 7 months ago, he started a company with an associate Gabby 35 female. She's definitely successful and knowledgeable, so my concern was what would happen if she ever decided to cut him off. I'm mentioning this because his contribution to their association was to bring clients but not technical or anything. For the past 5 months, he stayed out late while working on their plans. I never had any reason for doubt or suspicion until he went to meet her on a Sunday afternoon. I didn't say anything because I know starting a business requires lots of effort, but it's odd to allow an associate to interfere with family life. 2 weekends ago she showed up and berated him for cheating on her. We were hanging out at his place with his 2 brothers, Mill, his daughter, and Sil. Gabby showed up knocking at the door while Carl was in the shower. I started getting weirded out when his family seemed hesitant to answer the door. His brother finally went to talk to her, but she walked past him and confronted me. She asked about our relationship. I'll admit that I was a bit rude because I got defensive. His other brother went to get Carl and it all turned into a shit show. At this point, I'm disgusted and I don't know who was the real girlfriend and who was the side chick. Also, it's worth noting that she accused his family of betraying her. Carl remained vague when I demanded some answers and I felt like slapping him, but I controlled myself. She stormed out after an ugly exchange. I broke up with him that same day and haven't been able to find my way back into a good mental state. I can't believe anything he says, so whatever he explains will be a lie. This is where I might be the a-hole. I made the decision to pull my support for his daughter. I had been paying for a makeup subscription box but cancelled it. She was getting her prom dress as a loan from a friend of mine who has 4 girls. I told my friend what happened, and we agreed that his daughter doesn't deserve any of my help. I also kicked them both out of my streaming services and will not help with the history school project, nor will I keep her in my magazine subscription plan. Carl reached out trying to discuss what I'm doing about his daughter. He said she's just a teenager and she shouldn't pay for his mistakes. I agreed that she has no power to keep him from doing bad things nor to keep him from being a liar. And I know that she wouldn't be in a position to warn me that her dad was cheating. But, she's almost 17 next month, and she's very mature and she's definitely capable of telling right from wrong. And she had 0 problems getting stuff and receiving help and favors from me and was comfortable asking for things. She's not a brat or the demanding type. She low-key asked for stuff and I was happy to help. I'm sure she also benefited from Gabby because it makes sense since I'm under the impression that Gabby was no stranger to her either. I told him let Gabby do it and he tried to complain about how Gabby vandalized their website. She took their page down and all it shows is a black screen. He says she locked him out of all the logins and supposedly had all her contacts block him. The only thing giving a little joy right now is imagining him naked and holding his balls out in the cold. Update. Thanks to everyone who took the time to reply. I think the consensus was about his daughter. I will not be contacting her, at all. I reached out to Gabby via social media and she replied. I explained my position and that I didn't know about her, hence I was very rude and reacted with hostility. We exchanged messages. She says that initially, he told her that we were in an open relationship that was about to end. They were talking for months before they began their relationship. She says he first introduced his kid, then his younger brother, and that his mom when Paul invited her for lunch, and had his mom show up without telling her. Also, she said that his mom was less than friendly, and that his mother made a small scene because she decided to pick a fight with her boyfriend. He and Mill are currently broken up. There's no way that she's making this up. Mill treated that guy like shit. About his daughter, Paul used to visit Gabby on some weekends, and would leave his kid at Gabby's place, because they bonded over DIY projects. Now I know where his daughter got her fairy, witchy, fantasy, elf polymer clay jewelry and hair accessories from. So I guess his working on weekend gigs was a lie. She said they became a couple about a month or 2 after starting their company because she wouldn't accept an open relationship. He told her that we were done when in fact we never broke up, had a crisis, nothing. Gabby mentioned that her dad fucking hates him, and that things began to get rough because of things he did and her dad noticed. She says she and her dad and other family members always meet for Saturday dinner or Sunday brunch at a particular restaurant, and that her dad noticed how she paid for Paul and his kid, always. And if Paul ever paid for his food, he didn't pay for hers. She said her dad called her out because her dad would usually pay for everyone, his treat, his family, and that he was getting very uncomfortable about Paul. And that he paid for Paul to avoid making a scene, but that he was fed up. So her dad told Paul he expected to be treated for a change, as a hostile joke, when they arrived at the restaurant. And that Paul was very offended, and later told her that her dad's remark was a put down. She also said that her best friend raised concerns about him, and that everything started to crumble because he didn't attend her family's Xmas lunch as he promised, and that he remained a bit low-key during the holidays, and claimed to have influenza. He used both of us, but he took far more advantage of her because she made material things available, and while I don't know her except for this situation, her messages show that she's very affected but mostly angry, and I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up destroying him. She repeatedly mentioned that he deserved getting his life ruined. I didn't know that Paul didn't get an MBA like he told me. He never worked 2 jobs that he told me about and also put in his resume. She found out because she paid for background checks and other tools when things started not adding up. Supposedly, this was part of why she started testing his abilities, and had been thinking about pulling the plug business-wise. She says it's all bullshit, and that he's very insecure about his social standing. She told me a lot of stuff, but in a nutshell, I'm going to get tested for STDs, and already told my family what happened. I'm leaving it at that because writing about it really irritates me for being stupid enough to believe him. Thanks again.